I'm not gonna lie, y'all. This movie was immaculate. What's good, y'all? It's Jarvis, and I just saw Guardians of the Galaxy 3 2 weeks ago. Yeah, I'm a little late to the party, but it did allow me to simmer my thoughts, let it cook like stir fry. You know what I'm saying? Also, full spoilers for the movie because everyone has seen this at this point, whether it's through a movie theater or a recording of the movie with the quality of a security camera. But before we get into the movie, let's discuss the first two. The first Guardians of the Galaxy was a movie I really liked back in the day. I can't believe it's almost a decade. It was really good. It was really good. The characters were great, and it just had a different vibe compared to other Marvel movies because it took place like in space. The second one though is one of my favorite movies. One of my favorite Marvel movies of all time. I legit don't get the hate with this movie. I think it's like way better than the first one. The visual, I think it's like this has like the best visuals in any Marvel movie easily. And with that being said, let's dive right into the third movie, starting with the negatives. And the one negative that I have with the movie is that Adam Warlock was basically like pushed to the side, which was super disappointing for me because well, this character was basically built up for like 5 years since the last movie, and I wanted him to be the only side antagonist instead of him and his mom because it took away too much screen time from the movie. But besides that, that's really the only problem I have with this movie because this movie is damn near perfection. The biggest takeaway that I had with the movie was how broken the Guardians were at the beginning, especially Peter Quill. It felt like all of them were just barely brought together by like duct by tape. You know what I'm saying? You could definitely tell that the events of Infinity War and Endgame really affected them, and well, could you blame them? One member died, and the rest turned into almost all of them got turned into oregano by some purple nurple alien. So it was crazy. Speaking of Peter Quill, this is easily my favorite appearance from him. You get to see a nuanced side to his character where all of the traumatic moments in his life just hit him like a truck, especially with the death in his life, like what happened to Gamora, his mom, and Yondu. He can't concentrate due to all the events that has happened, but he always manages to pull himself together to do the best for the ones that he loves. I felt insanely bad for him whenever Gamora shot down his advances, and you could just see the pain on that man's face. And also, I also can't blame him. If Zoe freaking Saldana forgot about my whole existence, I'll be falling down to my knees. Gamora 2014 was great. I was worried that they were going to retread the same arc that 2018 Gamora went through. I'm glad they went in such a different direction by showing her ruthless slash warrior side instead of her compassionate slash softy side that 2018 Gamora came to be. She still has a friendly side, but not as much because she has been rolling with the Ravengers and barely knowing the Guardians for a few days. Also, thank God that her and Starlight didn't end up together again because not only would have been redundant, but Butcher, one of the main themes of the movie, is which is moving on from the past. This theme comes full circle at the end of the movie, but this is the main arc for not only Star Lord, but also Rocket Raccoon. Rocket Raccoon is undoubtedly the heart and soul of this movie, since this is basically his origin story. I was on the edge of my seat wondering if he was going to survive or not. This scene when that scene when Star Lord screams like piercing screams as he hears Rocket's heart rate drop almost made me cry. But luckily he survives. Yay! Nice detail. I noticed um and I replayed it in my head was when Nebula broke down when she heard Rocket through the radio, which might be weird at first glance because you don't really get to see her and Rocket interact on screen as much until you realize that they're possibly the closest they have the strongest relationship because they were the only ones that were around during the 5 year time skip, and the rest were gone. So that just makes it even more like heartbreaking. It's a really nice detail. I really appreciate that. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention this movie's like really dark. Like for a Marvel movie, like there's a lot of implied like torture of like animals, and it was pretty sad to witness, especially like this one scene where Baby Rocket was in his cage, and you can see like he had a metal plate in his on the top of his head, and like his first words were like hurt. It was really sad, man. I Why did this movie do this to me, man? I was expecting a funny raccoon movie, and all I got back was depression. That whole prison flashback threw me for a loop. I thought it was gonna come out completely different. I thought Rocket's friends were we were gonna like meet them like in the present later in the movie or towards the end, but nah, they all just got murdered, bro. Like it was not pretty, and it got even worse when Rocket started like to like cry his poor little heart out while the High Evolutionary was mocking him. It really got me thinking like you never know what someone was going through behind smiles and laughter. And I got that out of a movie out of a talking raccoon. Like it's crazy, but that's just a testament to how good the writing is. It also makes Rocket's breakdown from the first movie much more darker now. I loved Rocket's arc in this movie. It was very compelling. It was very dark, but it did have a happy ending. Props to the voice actor who did young Rocket and Bradley Cooper, who gave easily his best performance as the character. Before we talk about the ending, let's run it back where I mentioned the High Evolutionary. This man was a scumbag. The actor did a fantastic job portraying this maniac. It was so refreshing. It was so refreshing to get a bad guy that is just being just the biggest piece of shit imaginable. I'm getting kind of tired of sympathetic villains. Yeah, they're compelling and cool, but we get that all the time now, and we just this was very refreshing. There are two standout moments for me. One moment was when Rocket was solving a problem involving a serum that can make animals into intelligent beings, and he solved the formula, but the High Evolutionary handled it as well as a diva. He also had one of the coldest villain lines in any Marvel movie where he was like, "There is no God until I stepped in," which I was like, "Hey yo, you kind of crazy, but hey yo, talk your shit." I was ecstatic when the Guardians wobble comboed him so hard that he revealed his face, which obviously I can't show because I will get demonetized. Overall, great villain. The direction was really well done. James Gunn never misses when it comes to implementing his personality into his movies, and I really like the places we visit as well. There's this really cool organic planet that reminded me of Doom Eternal, and there's this counter Earth where you have these aliens dressing up and living a life of a 1950s suburban community. It was real adorable. But yeah, it was very creative. It was refreshing that the special effects actually looked finished and very well done, especially after watching Ant-Man where some of the effects look like something out of a sci-fi movie. But yeah, also the music was handled really well, very well done as per usual, but the one music choice that really like just hit at my heart was "Do You Realized?" And this was after Peter discovered Gamora after he thought like, you know, he lost her, and it was just very sad. Overall, great effects, great direction, and great soundtrack. Now, let's wrap this up. The ending was nothing short of perfection. The Guardians lived! Yay! Fine, it's good. It feels good because, of course, I thought before walking into this movie that at least like one or two characters were gonna die, mainly Drax and Rocket. But luckily, they didn't do that, and I'm glad because that's pretty predictable. And also, I just love these characters. Obviously, I don't want them to die. But it was still a bittersweet ending because the Guardians went their own separate ways. Star Lord goes back home, Groot and Rocket mentor a new generation in the form of a new team. Gamora stays with the Ravengers, and Drax and Nebula take care of the kids that they saved at the prison ship that the High Evolutionary kept them captive in. It was sad saying goodbye to all these characters because I grew up with this trilogy. When the first Guardians came out in 2014, I was 10 years old, and now I'm 19 and and a grown adult. It's just really sad, but it's also like kind of cool, you know? Yeah. So the first post credit scene shows us the new Guardians team, which has Rocket as the leader. I hope this hopefully means that I kind of don't want another trilogy. I mean, I would be fine with like one or two, but I think it would be a lot more cooler and unique if they were like crossover exclusive, like they only showed up for like big events or like crossover movies. Yeah, it would be pretty cool because I don't want them to like replicate James Gunn because he has such a specific style, and I want someone to come up with their own spin, especially since they teased at the end of the movie music from the 2000s, and even Adam Warlock mentions Britney Spears, which I love Britney Spears though. So yeah, that would make them more unique, and I can't wait for the future. The second post-credit scene raises further questions because Star-Lord is on Earth with his grandpa, and there is also a title card that said Star-Lord will return. You know who else is on Earth? The Avengers. I mean the new Avengers, which hopefully means he'll join the team. He would low key make a good strategist to the team since he did come up with that plan of capturing Thanos, and it succeeded the first time in Infinity War until he screwed up. But my point still stands. Overall, this movie was amazing. You could tell the crew and cast put a lot of heart, soul, and passion into it. And am I not only excited for the future of the MCU and hopefully they take notes from this because this movie's doing really well and we need more movies like this, but I'm also excited for D- James Gunn's take on the DC universe because I loved his Suicide Squad movie and I can't wait to see what he'll do for Superman. Anyways, that's the end of the video. Thank you everyone so much for tuning into this video. It really means a lot to me because this is the first time I ever did a review. And I think I did okay. Anyways, thank y'all and I'll see you in the next video.